This Can-N air intake system is designed to increase power and acceleration by reducing restriction in the intake path. Can-N 69-3517TS air intake fits 2012 and 2013 Ford Focus with a 2.0-liter engine. The 69-3517TS air intake is not legal for highway use in California or other states adopting California emission standards. Check knfilters.com for an up-to-date list of models this air intake fits and for a list of other CARB adoption states. Can-N power testing showed an estimated power gain of 9.9 horsepower at 5,872 RPM with the 69-3517TS air intake installed on a 2012 Ford Focus with a 2.0-liter engine. Actual results will vary depending on the condition of the vehicle, mileage, weather, and other variables. With the air intake installed, we ran the vehicle on the dyno to test the sound comparison versus the stock intake. The intake system includes components that have been designed or matched to the needs of these vehicles to produce a safe horsepower increase. Detailed installation instructions are included with this kit. The tools needed for this install are shown. Turn off the ignition and disconnect the negative battery cable. Release the red locking tab and then disconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection. Also, unhook the mass air sensor wiring harness clip from the mass air sensor. Depress the blue locking tab and then disconnect the evap vent line. Disconnect the crankcase vent line from the intake tube. Disconnect the crankcase vent hose from the valve cover and then remove the vent hose from the vehicle. Loosen the hose clamp securing the intake tube to the throttle body. Release the rubber strap securing the fresh air intake scoop to the duct. Lift up the airbox assembly to release it from the mounting grommet. Remove the airbox from the vehicle. Remove the rubber fresh air duct from the vehicle. Can-N recommends that customers do not discard factory air intake. Remove the bolt securing the intake silencer to the inner fender. Lift up to remove the intake silencer from the vehicle. Install the provided silicone hose onto the throttle body and secure with the provided hose clamp. Install the two provided mounting studs onto the heat shield using the provided hardware. Install the provided rubber-mounted stud onto the heat shield using the provided hardware. Cut the provided edge trim into 3 sections, 30 inches long, 10.5 inches long, and 9 inches long. Install the 9-inch and 10.5-inch sections of edge trim onto the heat shield base. Set the heat shield base into position on the airbox mounts. Place the provided fender washer onto the fresh air intake scoop mount. Using the provided hardware, secure the provided bracket to the fresh air intake scoop mount and the rubber-mounted stud onto the heat shield base. The provided fender washer from the previous step should be placed between the bracket and the fresh air intake scoop mount. Install the provided rubber-mounted studs onto the heat shield. Loosen the hose clamp that secures the factory intake tube to the mass air sensor housing, and then remove the hose from the mass air sensor housing. Remove the 2 bolts securing the mass air sensor housing to the airbox. Separate the mass air sensor housing from the airbox. Secure the mass air sensor housing to the rubber-mounted studs on the heat shield using the provided hardware. The provided bolts will need to be threaded through the holes in the mass air sensor. Install the provided hump hose onto the mass air sensor and secure with the provided hose clamp. Install the provided 1-inch grommet into the Can-N intake tube. Install the 90-degree vent fitting into the Can-N intake tube. Plastic NPT fittings are easy to cross-thread. Install the vent fitting hand tight and then turn it 2 complete turns with a wrench. Install the Can-N intake tube completely into the silicone hump hose and then set the complete assembly onto the heat shield base. Install the Can-N intake tube into the silicone hose on the throttle body. Then, align the heat shield and secure with the provided hardware. Align the intake tube and secure with the provided hose clamps. Install the provided silicone vent hose onto the 90-degree vent fitting in the K&N intake tube and attach the open end to the valve cover port. Remove the evap fitting from the intake hose. Install the evap fitting into the intake tube and then connect the evap vent line. Reconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection. Disconnect the hood release cable from the hood latch. Install the provided 7/8" grommet into the K&N fresh air plate. Pass the hood release cable through the grommet installed into the K&N fresh air plate, and then secure the fresh air plate to the heat shield and mounting bracket with the provided hardware. Reinstall the hood release cable to the hood latch. Install the 30-inch long section of edge trim onto the fresh air plate and heat shield. Some trimming of the edge trim will be necessary. Install the K&N air filter and secure with the provided hose clamp. Do not over-tighten the air filter hose clamp, as crush damage to the mass air sensor housing will occur. Reconnect the vehicle's negative battery cable. Double check to make sure everything is tight and properly positioned before starting the vehicle. It will be necessary for all K&N high-flow air intake systems to be checked periodically for realignment, clearance, and tightening of all connections. Failure to follow the above instructions or proper maintenance may void warranty. K&N makes products for nearly every vehicle on the road. The K&N website allows you to search products by vehicle or dimension, download installation instructions, view dyno charts showing estimated horsepower gains for this product, and view product details. For information on where to buy K&N products, go to knfilters.com.